Nicol Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. I will ride with this group. Seriously, man. Please. And away we go.
Oh, man, we're coming in hot in the YouTube comments already on a Feedback Friday. Let's see here. Where was that Declan one? Here we go. Whole crew hung over from the Saints game last night. Dex, is your arm sore from throwing out the first pitch?
Arm is good. Arm is good. You know what's interesting? I went back and I watched the angles because Phil was kind of mostly like behind the plate. But our friend Heather Rule was, more down the third baseline, kind of near the foul pole.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at Heather's angle, pretty decent throw. If you look at Phil's angle, I have received some, criticism of classic guy that can't throw a ball but criticizes other ball guys.
Well, you didn't exactly look like Roger Clemens in his prime throwing that pitch to the plate.
And I don't think I should. I don't think I should look like Roger Clemens doing it. But I didn't bounce it, and it didn't go over his head. I feel like I landed it in the safe zone, just like this new kickoff. I landed it in the safe zone.
You didn't squib it. Yeah.
Didn't squib it. Didn't kick it out of bounds.
There is nothing better than guy that played high school sports who is now like, you're criticizing professional athletes.
Dude. One of my favorite people.
I saw that a lot. This is taking the video of Declan saying, this throwing motion right here is a guy that criticizes professional baseball players. Proudly, yes.
Proudly.
Yeah. Somebody else says here, let's pull this one up. Dean Mortensen. Hey, Mackie. Are you going to rip on Blake Cashman because he said he takes Friday and Saturday every week for his own personal time?
So do I.
But you're not a professional football player.
I don't know. I was on the mountain yesterday.
He's also, and you're also not a quarterback.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between like the second inside linebacker and a quarterback who is orchestrating every check, every protection, every look that the defense might give you.
I think it's fair to say this. Especially in season, okay? If you are a National Football League quarterback, there's not a lot of time for life in season during your playing career.
Why is this? In fact, this is a good segue because we do have some JJ McCarthy stuff loaded up early here on Feedback Friday. But why is this controversial now? Why is it controversial to say, you know what, if you're a quarterback in the National Football League, do whatever you want in late February, March, April, show up for the May and June OTAs, and then do whatever you want again at the end of June and July.
Sure.
But then from August all the way through the Super Bowl, ideally, just be all in for 10 to 15 years of your life. Why is that a hot take or controversial?
Because I don't think people understand how many quarterbacks in season don't take time off. The Netflix special was sort of weird because it's they're talking about, he takes Tuesdays off. And I think people were like, oh, okay, yeah, of course he does. But then if you've covered the sport, quarterbacks are in the facility constantly. Favre, okay? So Brett Favre, who had played forever, comes here in 2009. He's played 16 years for the Packers. He has played football. And Brett Favre clearly had his faults. But by this point in time, knew everything that you could know about the offense, blah, blah, blah. Brett Favre would actually go home, and he lived close to Winter Park. He would eat with his family and come back at night.
He'd stay till 10, 11.
Well, he'd come back at 9 and stay till, so this is, it is more odd, in my opinion, if you're a starting quarterback, if you don't basically commit your life in season. I feel like sometimes too, we get these weird feelings about, they're people too. Okay. First of all, they're paid millions of dollars. So they're not that's why I always love, hey, Zolgad, you're going to criticize a guy and you can't throw a football like that. Well, if I could, I'd be making millions of dollars. Once you make millions of dollars, you are open to being criticized. There's the whole thing about, you wouldn't go to a guy's office and ride him and mock him.
That'd be hilarious and fun, though, wouldn't it?
It would be fun, but you know what?
Bob, you son of a...
You suck at being a CPA. You're terrible.
He's probably making $90,000, and good for him, right? So, but I don't think people understood like the amount of time. I've go back to 2006. I've told you guys with Childress, you do not know. No, you don't
Christian
get that.
says you need a good work-life balance, Judd. What do you mean?
You don't get that in football, and you don't get, okay, if you want a work-life balance, you don't play professional football. But
it's a good point. You can have work-life balance, but you're also going to have that edge rusher that you missed that one day of preparation. And that edge rusher is going to be, carving you up.
And you're an adult playing a sport where you like physically try and kill guys. But anyway, so 2006, Brad Johnson ended 2005 because Culpepper was hurt as the Vikings quarterback. They trade Culpepper. Brad Johnson's the guy, right? Brad Johnson, again, been around forever, knows a ton. And he comes in on a Tuesday to help game plan because quarterbacks want to be involved in, hey, if you're putting together the game plan, I'm executing it. And Childress is like, oh, good. Oh, dude, we're good. Go home. Yeah. And Brad's like, what? And he's like, yeah, no, we'll tell you. And Brad was offended, rightfully so, because his point was, I'm supposed to execute this. I can sit here and tell you what I like and don't like, which, by the way, coaches want.
And KOC does a good job. I mean, KOC came on our show last week and said, the best thing I can hear is when everyone's done all the work from their angle, when the quarterback comes to me on a Friday or a Saturday before the game and says, I don't feel comfortable with this and this. Perfect. Okay, we've all done our homework. You don't feel comfortable with that. Someone, let's see here. We should clarify something here because I've seen some of this, and it's worth addressing. Jeff says in the YouTube comments, let's move on from the Kirk bashing. He's gone. I think, first of all, I don't believe Kirk's name has been uttered so far in the first 6 minutes. Maybe one of us snuck a Kirk in there. But what's going to happen here is, just trigger warning, the Vikings have new quarterbacks, and Kirk was the old quarterback. And so there's going to be some comparisons to the old from time to time. The way things were done, the way that the old quarterback played, some of the things he did or didn't do. I don't think we're going to, and I don't think we have. Maybe a couple times a week we draw little comparisons here and there, but there will be some comparisons going forward when you break up with one quarterback and you bring in, this is the new wife, the new girlfriend. And you're thinking, you know what? I'm really, really happy that my wife does this and my ex-wife used to do that and it drove me nuts, right? Like there's going to be a little bit of that on this show going forward. I don't think we're going to beat you over the head with it though.
We also need to stop acting like all football players are the same. Like Blake Cashman, okay? Once Blake is done, we will never talk about Blake again, right? We still talk about Vikings quarterbacks. We still talk about Christian Ponder. We still talk about, God rest his soul, Tavares Jackson. So it's very hard. Like, yes, I agree. We should not do shows bashing Kirk. But once you play quarterback, it's sort of like having been a president. It's sort of hard never, if you're doing political commentary, never to talk about the presidents that are
we're looking to improve from what the previous president was doing. And so this is what the new president has proposed.
We still talk about Culpepper. We still talk about Tarkington, who was good occasionally. So, removing the name of a quarterback from your mouth, get his name out of your mouth, a little bit difficult.
And one more thing on that, too. Like the words hating and bashing, I think we need to put these words in separate bins. Fair criticism is in one bin. Bashing and hating are in a sensationalism bin that really doesn't exist as much as people think. If you're critiquing your team or critiquing a player or whatever, that's just part of natural discussion. Hating and bashing is a different. So, okay, we got some JJ McCarthy stuff to piggyback off here, but let's say hello to Quick Trip here briefly. Judd, Quick Trip, a great place to get some gas and other things.
And a place that you will never bash. You will never bash Quick Trip because Quick Trip only is worthy of one thing, and that is praise. Look at those food selections right there. You're driving home tonight. You need gasoline. Perhaps you want a snack, and you're like, you know what? I got nothing in the fridge for dinner. What am I going to do? Do I have to go to the grocery store? The answer is absolutely not. No, you don't. You know why? Because Quick Trip has options for you as well. That's right. Your one place stop for everything that you could possibly want. You talk about a convenience store that's so much more and is going to the Hall of Fame someday, then we're talking about my friends. I'm going to pop the shirt right here too.
Pop it.
because I am hip. I'm with the kids. I'm popping it. Quick Trip is the place that you want to go.
So, okay, let's get into the Feedback Friday questions, comments, concerns. We'll also do a snake draft later on this live edition of Feedback Friday.
Can't wait for this.
You can always send us comments via the YouTube channel, Purple Daily YouTube channel. Click that subscribe button and the like button if you haven't already, please. And then the feedback tab in the Score North app is also a great place to email us things. Greg Johnson says, guys, love the shows. I'm an old guy here from St. Louis Park in my youth, just like Judd. Went to Ethel Baston Central Junior High School. Familiar?
Might be here, might not be here. Who knows? Schools close all the time.
The St. Louis Park historian Judd will check on that.
Yep.
And then, he spent freshman year at St. Louis Park High School, been a Vikings fan since the early 70s. My question to you guys, JJ McCarthy says he's sticking around and working at the facilities a lot this summer. What sort of contact is he allowed with Vikings staff? So they can't organize practices, but can he be texting with, can he meet with Kevin O'Connell in his office or something?
He can definitely be, I think, texting him. I don't know what the rules are. I will say this, and again, despite what we've just talked about, this is the one time a year that guys are basically free and clear, and training camp starts in 3 weeks or so, a month. So JJ McCarthy, like O'Connell actually, he talked about with us, goes on vacation for a few weeks. He's refreshing, life balance, right? Doesn't do that in season. So I think that I think what McCarthy was saying more is, I'm going to go out, throw some passes. I'm going to, be studying the playbook, which it sounds like his fiance helps him with. I don't know if he can, my guess is he can probably go to the facility, but to your point, they can't organize things. They can't force things. But I mean, he did make it very, very clear that he had his fun after Michigan won the national championship. So It sounds like he is all work right now.
Yeah. Okay. Trav says, hey guys, love the show. Thank you for the daily content. You're welcome, Trav. I used to read Judd stuff in the Star Tribune back when I was in high school between 2007 and 2011. Huge fan of the Sports Dad. Got me and my buddies the JJ to JJ shirts. So nice. Anyways, all the support, man. Thank you, Trav.
This is awesome.
I'm rewatching the Quarterback on Netflix series, and Patrick Mahomes talked about building his house in Kansas City because he knew he was going to be there a long time. Do you guys think that there's any chance that that's why JJ McCarthy reportedly wants all of his signing bonus right now and not in installments? That he wants to be here for the long haul and needs all that cash up front to build his home in the Twin Cities area for the rest of his football life?
That's a really nice thought. I think the reason why he wants it is probably because his representation wants to get him that. And just to be clear here, the Vikings don't ordinarily, or I don't know that they've ever given all of this up front to a draft pick, but the difference here is quarterbacks often do get this. So I think what the McCarthy camp, and it goes well beyond JJ. I think what they're trying to do is basically go along with what's been established for first round QBs, because again, it's a different position. It's like Kirk. I mean, Kirk did get his entire thing and deserved it because he was brilliant about it. Guaranteed, right?
Yeah. This is where I don't know. Maybe someone's reported on the history of this. Are the Vikings out of line compared to the NFL norm? Are they trying to pull a fast one here, or is JJ McCarthy and his agent trying to change a trend? I don't have enough information.
No, I found some stuff about this. It sounds like first round QBs, especially top 10 picks, quarterbacks get it all at once. Ordinarily, players don't. So if I play cornerback, I don't. But I think where there's a discrepancy here is, this is the first quarterback in the Vikings history that they've taken in the top 10.
Yeah, they don't know what to do with their hands.
So this precedent doesn't exist for them.
Yeah, they're running around like, what do we do? Do we make eye contact with him? I don't know.
Just start Darnold.
Don't take any pictures of him at practice. And if we do, stick him in the back of the album. John Jackson says, hey, you guys were talking about JJ McCarthy's first pitch the other day. On McAfee Show, all the guys said they think he threw a horrible pitch on purpose so that Dallas Turner didn't look bad, and to make it appear that it looks harder than it is, or that it's harder than it looks. Thus, JJ McCarthy was being a good teammate. What are your thoughts on the McAfee Show theory that JJ McCarthy said, you know what? It's like, what's that movie? What's the movie with the guy? It's with Justin Timberlake, who's been in the news recently, where it's him and Mila Kunis, and then Justin Timberlake. Is it Friends with Benefits?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where Justin Timberlake's dad is suffering from dementia, and he just will like randomly take his pants off at restaurants and stuff.
Oh, I do that.
And he goes, and Justin Timberlake would get embarrassed by this until the end of the movie. His dad takes his pants off in like the airport restaurant, and Justin Timberlake says, "You know what? I love my dad. I'm going to support my dad here. I'm going to take my pants off too, so that we both have our pants off." Is that what happened with that first pitch?
No. That was a no. That was a clear I messed this up and I spiked it. The way he ran off the mound, you knew that, oh God, I was super hyped up and felt bad about it. I mean, Dallas Turner's would have been 9 rows into the Champions Club at Target Field if there's no netting. And I do not. I love what McAfee did there, but no, I don't think so.
I don't want my quarterback, like I think that you should prop up teammates on the field and stuff. But I don't want a sympathetic, bad athletic endeavor from my QB. Like I want the competition of, hey, Dallas, watch this. I'm going to do this right. But instead it had to be Declan at the Saints game who showed both Dallas and JJ how to throw first.
Exactly. Just lay it right in there. So, okay. So do you think it's a red flag that both first round picks are unable to throw a baseball with accuracy?
The guy that saw it.
I don't. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had awful one. There's been plenty of athletes with bad ones. So
it is funny though how like throwing a baseball is such a unique skill set, and swinging the most athletic people in the country, when you give them a baseball, a bat, or a golf club, can look like complete idiots.
I mean, gymnasts. I mean, that's the perfect example of when you see a gymnast on a balance beam or doing all this crazy stuff and can flip around and have like this insane precise landing and everything. Give him a bat or a ball. Oh,
yeah. Here's a 9-iron.
Yeah.
Hey, Simone Biles. Yeah. Here's a driver. Yeah. Good luck. Okay. John Rizzer says, the Vikings should have signed Sam Darnold to a 2-year contract. If he continues to be below average as a starter, you get a decent backup for JJ McCarthy. But if he's a legit starter, you could trade him after the season because he has a year left on his deal. If JJ McCarthy is ready, you could maybe get a 3rd or a 4th rounder to replenish your 2025 draft. I mean, Darnold knows that too, right? I mean, Darnold's thinking, boy, if I have a great season, I don't want to be locked in for a discount for my 2nd year. So I think he probably just wanted a 1-year contract. Right?
I think that's exactly right. Yep. Because if it works, he's going to get paid. If it doesn't work and he's got the 2nd year of a contract, he's either A, released, or B, now he's a backup again, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know if you're the Darnold people, what would be the incentive?
Yeah, unless you view yourself as a backup at this point, and but you're 26. He still has aspirations of doing a Geno Smith thing or a Baker Mayfield thing.
Absolutely.
So
he should.
Let's see here. I think is it Gerard or Jared Keys? We'll go with Gerard Keys. My son is attending a Brian Asamoah football camp this Saturday in Columbus, Ohio. He needs a good Judd-like question to ask Brian Asamoah. Any suggestions from the sports dad?
Two things. One is, how frustrating has it been your entire life to have your last name mispronounced?
You can
and make sure the kid knows it's Asamoah. I screwed that up 2 days ago, so make sure the kid knows it's Asamoah. The second thing is, what is the importance? And this is great for a kid because this is not like kids wouldn't think of this. So this is some good sports dad advice, and it's free. What is the importance of being a really good special teams player? Because with a guy like Asamoah, it keeps his roster spot.
That's kind of a passive-aggressive, condescending question, though. You know,
why?
Hey Brian, what's the importance of being a special teams player? Because,
a good, effective.
Probably your ceiling at this point. Is that the
no, you don't
implication?
Say that. You don't say that. You're trying to get a good answer.
Brian, what's it like knowing that?
Worst case, he goes off, it goes viral, and this kid becomes famous. And then I want to cut of the money.
You want to cut of the algorithm.
The importance
profits.
of special teams. He plays special teams. I think that's a very fair question. What's the importance of special teams?
Chris Burke says, drunk on that purple Kool-Aid. He's saying that to us.
All right.
Kevin O'Connell, a top 10 coach. Wait a second. I think I had him 11th.
Yeah, I think
maybe 12th. Was it 11th?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to clarify, I do not think he's a top 10 coach. We did the rankings yesterday. And Judd said a few weeks ago, Kwesi deserves an extension. Laugh out loud.
I think they're both going to get extensions. That's what I predicted.
I get it. You guys had Kevin O'Connell on the show, so you can't really dump on him now. Totally understand. I'm not even halfway through the question here. And it doesn't make for a great show to always be negative on the Vikings. I totally get it. But let's just point out some of the things with this regime. Kevin O'Connell is 17-8 with Kirk, 3-6 without Kirk. For an alleged quarterback whisperer, the non-Kirk quarterback play was less than inspiring last year. And Kwesi extension talk is ludicrous. In his third year with the Vikings, they have the most dead cap money in the league, which is something that teams do to rebuild after they win for periods of time. You can't blame Rick for that one. Judd.
Okay, let's unpack this. First of all, you can make a very coherent case that the O'Connell quarterback thing, which I think we are about to find out now, right? Darnold has been here the entire offseason program. But the reality is this: I would criticize them more for having gone out and getting Dobbs, because that's where we've discussed this a bunch. I would have traded Hunter personally and said, you know what, if we win, fine. If we don't, that's fine too. I have predicted that I think they're both going to get extensions. I think ownership is happy with where it's trending.
Yeah.
Now you can debate that. You can certainly come back and say, I don't agree. And you might be right. But I'm just telling you, I think with getting McCarthy at 10, I think with what they're doing as far as turning a page, and keep in mind, they only signed 4-year contracts. So they weren't 5 years. So they're going to come up sooner than you expect. My prediction has been, I think both of them are going to get extensions.
Okay, sorry, listen, man, all due respect to Chris Burke, we appreciate you consuming the show, but I'm going to dismantle your question and argument here for a second. So you say KOC is 17-8 with Kirk and 3-6 without Kirk, and that is evidence that KOC is not a quarterback whisperer. Well, let's compare apples to apples and use the same common denominator. Let's start with Kirk. So Kirk Cousins with Kevin O'Connell is 17-8, which is pretty damn good, right?
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins with every other head coach he has played with is under 500. So that's point KOC, right? Whoa, he took a below 500 quarterback.
Sure.
Or teams with Kirk at quarterback below 500.
Yep. And
generated 17 wins and only 8 losses. Well, what about the 3-6 record with the non-Kirk quarterbacks? As if Kevin is expected, by the way, to use only Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins the rest of his coaching career. And if you can't go to the playoffs and win a Super Bowl with Josh Dobbs, you are garbage, right? Well, let's start with Nick Mullins. Kyle Shanahan was 5-11 in games started by Nick Mullins. One of the great quarterback whisper. He turned Brock Purdy into one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Jimmy Garoppolo into a Super Bowl quarterback. And he was 5-11 with Nick Mullins at the helm. Well, KOC had Nick Mullins throwing for 400 yards a couple times this last year. And then Josh Dobbs. So KOC is 2-2 in games started by Josh Dobbs. Off the street, didn't know his teammates' names. 2-2 with Josh Dobbs. All other coaches are 1-9 when Josh Dobbs starts a game.
Yep.
So, I mean, dude, I'm not saying KOC is Andy Reid yet. I'm not even saying he's a top 10 coach yet. We did the rankings on the show yesterday, but he has certainly elevated quarterbacks beyond what they were before. On the dead cap front, the Bills have more dead cap money on this year's books than the Vikings do. The Packers have $50 million in dead cap. I mean, it's sometimes you make, if you have an expensive quarterback and you're shoving cap money into the future, Aaron Rodgers, whatever it is, or you trade Stephon Diggs, dead cap money is a thing. And sometimes it bubbles up for good teams and bad teams. But the good news is they won't have that dead cap in 2025. They'll have a ton of cap space and a first-round pick.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
I just think that this year especially is going to be, especially probably from O'Connell's end, very intriguing. I'm sorry, but once Kirk got hurt, I don't see what the Vikings tried to do, and I might even disagree with what they did, but I don't see that as coaching a quarterback. Kirk Cousins and O'Connell were firing at the time that Kirk got hurt on damn near all cylinders, right? And then you throw in Dobbs, and then you pivot to Jaron Hall, or I'm sorry, you go Hall, he gets hurt. You go to Dobbs, you pivot to Mullins. Okay, the Darnold thing to me is going to be very intriguing. One, you need a certain amount of time, I think, to work with guys as starters, because if you are the backup, you don't get reps. The second thing is that was very hodgepodge. That entire thing was. So yeah, I think this show is as realistic as possible, but sometimes that means that you don't dump on a team when they're put in what is a very difficult predicament. Now, I will say this. You can make a case that they should have just sort of bailed, but that's a different story, and that will never involve a coach. A coach is never going to go to Kwesi and say, let's bail. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, and that's where you have to make up maybe a tougher decision as a front office leader, which we've talked about.
Don't go into the locker room and ask the players what they think.
If you're a business leader, one of the easiest decisions you can make is to connect with Federated Mutual Insurance Company. So make sure you have a game plan in place to stay focused on safety and preventing claims. Let the team at Federated support your business by offering a customizable lineup of industry-specific coverages and risk management services to help you continue your winning streak. At Federated Mutual Insurance Company, it's our business to protect yours. Go to federatedinsurance.com to find out more. Let's see here. Tim Trail says, for the benefit of myself and other listeners, could you please get Judd to explain exactly what a schlep is? America wants to know. Is it a dorky person, a nerdy person, someone that's athletically challenged? I love the show. I just need to know, what is a schlep as defined by Judd?
First of all, I'm going to look it up to see if I can get the official definition, because I know what I think.
Schlep.
Let me see. Is there a C in schlep, or is it just SH?
Is
there two P's?
There is.
S-C-H-L-E-P.
One P, there's one P.
L-E-P.
Yep.
Oh, no, there's some that it looks like.
Merriam-Webster has that.
Okay.
There
So
might be
I'm
two
referring.
P's. There's one P. One P.
It's one P.
Yep.
It's referring to a schlepper. So let's go to schlepper, which has two P's, Phil, to your point.
Okay.
Let's go to schlepper. Schlep is a word, but I am actually referring to a schlepper, an inept or stupid person.
Okay.
You're a schlep.
Okay. So this is how it's used. Wait. Okay, schlepping, to drag or to haul. So you're schlepping around. If you're using it as a verb, it's an action where you're schlepping things around. You're schlepping koozies,
but
whatever.
A schlepper is a person, and I am actually, I should have said a schlepper.
A schlepper.
But I like schlep more, so I'm just...
Schlep's good. Yeah.
I'm going to stick with schlep. Yeah. But yes, it says an inept or stupid person. For example, poor John was a schlepper of the first order.
John, always been a schlepper.
I don't understand why John has to be the guy. Anyway,
that's ridiculous.
Good question. That was a great question.
This next one comes from Cody Condon. Who is a defensive tackle that the Vikings could be looking at for next year's draft in 2025?
Ooh.
Huh.
I want a mock!
I wish it was Thursday.
Yeah, it might be Thursday again soon. We'll see.
Oh.
We'll see. We hope. So this is from Pro Football Network. They dropped a 2025 mock draft just a few days ago, earlier this week. And there are 3 defensive tackles being highlighted in the first 21 picks here.
Okay.
We'll start with, I believe it's Deone Walker, Deone, Deone Walker, defensive tackle from Kentucky. Perhaps the best defensive player in the draft. They have him going 4th right now and the first defensive player off the board. They don't make players like Deone Walker very often. A mammoth of a man with exceptional strength and seen to be believed athleticism.
Football. Do we have a height and weight?
I don't have a height and weight. Pro Football Network did not put measurables on.
Hold on, Deone Walker. Okay.
Then there's Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan. Mason Graham is a mauler forged in the Michigan trenches who has pocket pulverizing power and remarkable pass rush potential due to athleticism that belies his stout 6'3", 318-pound frame.
Oh my God. Deone Walker is a man. 6'6", 348.
What?
I'm not joking. 6'6",
Holy cow.
348.
Okay, Tank.
Freight train coming down the
Crazy,
track.
KOC. Jaron Hall, start all 17 games. And then there's another defensive tackle from Michigan, Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant boasts gap-plugging size to disrupt the ground game while his ludicrously fast feet add pass rush presence. This Michigan man has immediate impact potential as a rookie.
Let's start scouting. Let's start the scouting process.
6'6", 348 for that defensive tackle from Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Okay, then.
I'm jacked for next April.
I'm too. Logan Johnson says, with Justin Jefferson's new contract, what does Jordan Addison's future look like as a Viking? Will they have the cap space to re-sign him down the road, or will it be better for the Vikings to trade him at some point? He has a rookie contract for 4 more years, but after that, will they be able to keep him? I mean, they'd have one of the most expensive, although at the time, in let's say 2 years when you're discussing this, or maybe 3, Justin Jefferson would no longer be average annual value, the most expensive wide receiver. So would you pay 2 receivers?
Oh, boy. This is so far down the road in terms of football time, right? That it's so hard
like 2 years,
to say. Like, I guess the question is this. What have you done as a team as well? Well, like, let's just assume Jordan is really good, okay? What have you done as a team? What's the draft class like if he was to walk in the year that he could walk? Like, there's so many variables that could come up. And then to your point, Phil, like, we don't even know, since wide receiver is now a premium position, we don't even know where, like, Jefferson will fall. So could you have to pay Addison more than Jefferson by then, which would be a problem. So, like, I'd love to give a hot take answer right now. I feel like because it's a 5th-year option type of deal that it's a little too far off to make a prediction.
Yeah. Here's another Jordan Addison question from a couple people off of the number 2 wide receiver rankings we did earlier this week. How many teams would Jordan Addison be the number 1 wide receiver for right now, going into his 2nd year?
What's your guess?
Patriots.
5 to 10. At least 5. At least 5. Maybe that's a safer way to say it.
At least 5. I mean,
yeah.
Patriots, Bills, Chiefs. Would you take him over Hollywood Brown? I mean, Hollywood Brown's a possession guy.
Yeah.
Rashee Rice. Put Jordan Addison on that team with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's probably their number 1 receiver. Chargers. The Chargers said goodbye to all their credible receivers.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Packers?
Herbert would love to have that guy. Oh, yeah, he might be, for sure. 5 to 10 is probably fair.
Going through some of the other... Panthers. Panthers.
Yeah. Thielen?
Well, Thielen's their number 2 because they brought in... what's his name? They brought in another... Yeah. Oh, Deontay Johnson, right?
Yep.
From the Steelers.
Yep.
Broncos. Would you take him over? I mean, the Broncos have, I don't know. There's probably like 8 or 9. It's kind of crazy. And then after this year, when he probably takes a step forward, Falcons?
Here's my question.
Drake London? I'd probably take Jordan Addison.
Here's my question about Addison for 2024, though. 2 things. One is, what does the change of QBs do? More importantly, let's assume, knock on wood, Justin Jefferson stays healthy the entire season, because his 2023 stats probably, through no fault of his, come down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what's his production statistically if Jefferson can play in 17 games?
Yeah, there's so many.
How's that impacted?
Yeah, there's so many variables because your quarterback play on paper takes a step back, but Addison takes a step forward as a player going into his second year. Jefferson plays the whole year, maybe.
Yep. And the third thing is this, and I think this would actually behoove the Vikings offensively, is the run game more predominant?
It has to be, especially if JJ McCarthy is going to play. You would think,
right? But then the ball's not being spiraled through the air as much.
Yeah, because weren't the Vikings still, even with backup quarterbacks, they were still like top 6 or 7 in pass attempts.
Yep.
Might have even been higher than that.
I think they've been.
Crazy.
I want to say when it comes to just carries, so attempts, rushing wise, I want to say they've been like bottom 5 or 6 both of O'Connell's years.
Yeah. Well, here I got it in front of me. So rushing attempts last year, Vikings were 28th. And then passing attempts last year, the Vikings were, again, with Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall playing half the year. Yep. The Vikings were 4th in passing attempts, only 5 pass attempts away from leading the entire league, which shows you 2 things. KOC, not in love with his run game. And right. I should have mentioned this when we were ranking head coaches yesterday. Part of the reason why I have Mike McDaniel ahead of Kevin O'Connell, Miami's run game is on point. It's movement. They've got 2 running backs that they've turned into monsters. Maybe some of it's personnel, but really creative run game stuff from San Francisco, from Miami, even the Packers. But yeah, passing yards last year, team passing yards, Vikings were 5th behind the Niners, Cowboys, Lions, and Dolphins for the most high-powered, best offenses. And they were ahead of the Chiefs by 200 yards in passing yards with a bunch of just random dudes playing quarterback. And then Patrick, is it Amiot? Is the T silent? I'm not sure. I love the episode where you guys rank the number 2 wide receivers. Would you consider doing an episode where you rank the 32 punters? I think the names of the tiers or bins would be so funny. You could do a coffin corner tier, a touchback Teddy tier, the Shanks, the punt gods. It'd be perfect.
He just wants the names.
The downtime. Hey, I'm all in. If you guys want to rank punters, wow. Can you name another long snapper besides the Vikings?
No, I can't.
That's the question. Judd, do you want to rank punters? Do you want me to rank punters at some point? Or is that jumping the shark on the rankings?
I feel like that might be. Now I would be happy to come up with the tiers. Okay. But I don't know who fits where. The only thing I know is the coffin corner phrase itself is pretty much dead now, which is a shame.
Is it because we're all insensitive? We're too sensitive about the word coffin, or?
You know what? So I feel like this. Back when I started to watch football, I feel like the only time that punters punted to pin a team on the side, punted out of bounds on purpose, directional, was to pin them deep in their own zone, territory. Now I feel directional punting has become such a norm, and it happens, it does not just be like, if I can get you inside the 5, I mean, hell, you'll see directional punting if a team is punting from its own 20. So I feel like the phrase has died because the coffin corner was specifically about trapping you, deep in your own territory. But Greg Coleman, who of course, punted here for a long time and then preached here for a long time. Love Greg Coleman, great guy. He was a coffin corner expert.
Yeah. So it feels like now that we're into a punting deep dive here, on June 21st of the NFL calendar. It feels like teams emphasize hang time so that, hey, don't worry about, because if you try to kick it out of bounds and you miss a little bit, now it's a 12-yard punt. So just keep it in bounds, but put hang time on it, and then our coverage team will make sure that there's not a return, right? That's kind of
But the directional thing, but I think it's still big. Hang time is big, and I think you want to trap if you can. I think you still see teams trying to trap guys on the sideline.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean, to your point, you don't want it out of bounds. But it used to be you just boot the ball, and those guys with big legs, it was great. And now, it's like golf. It's now an art form in the exact execution as opposed to just hit the damn ball as far as you can, which I personally enjoyed more.
Bet you guys didn't think you were going to get a 5-minute dissertation on the art of punting.
But I can't rank them because I just don't know how to. I don't know who's good.
Boys, let's get into the snake draft of the week here on Feedback Friday. Presented by our friends at Nicol Law. So Nicol Law is the exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily. They know that when you or a loved one gets injured, ordinary life can come to a stop. They're here to help you get the compensation you deserve after an accident. They're just normal folks in and around the Twin Cities area who happen to have law degrees. Nicol Law is proud to serve those communities, and they're proud to help you, again, get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicol Law, NicolAlaw.com, or give them a call at 1-855-NICOL-A. Okay. The snake draft of the week here. And thank you guys for sending in a bajillion suggestions. We will continue to stockpile these. You guys, without me, you brought AJ in to do the best foods to grill last week, right?
And I believe he won.
He won the poll?
Because
AJ won the poll?
We do the polls afterwards. I believe AJ
I got a lot of
took it home.
immediate praise, but then it didn't carry.
Double check this. But
I
I'm
lost
pretty
a lot
sure
of
he won.
states.
Okay. I saw somebody put corn on the cob in there. That's good.
Yeah, that was AJ. That was a great value pick.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, AJ won. He got 49% of the votes.
That's pretty good for a 3-person.
I sniped Declan. He was very upset.
I was very upset. I got too cute. I got too cute with a couple picks. I got sniped. I got sniped on corn on the cob, and I got sniped on kebabs.
Oh, kebabs are fantastic.
Byerly's Cub. You just pick up those kebabs.
And there's a million different ways you could do. You could do the steak. You could do the chicken.
And it's healthy.
Yeah.
And it's healthy.
Very healthy.
It's good for you.
Protein, vegetables, lean,
great.
no carbs. I mean, come on. Okay, so the snake draft this week is Minnesota cities. We are going to be drafting our favorite Minnesota cities.
Okay.
Who had the first pick last week?
AJ.
AJ?
I had AJ was 1, Declan was 2, Judd was 3.
Okay, so then let's go Judd, me, Declan, and then Declan gets the swing pick going into the second round. We'll do 3 rounds. Let me just draw this up here. And then, Judd, you'll get the swing pick going in. So it'll go Judd, Phil, Declan, back to Declan, Phil, Judd, and then Judd, Phil, Declan to round this thing out.
Okay.
So, Judd, you are on the clock with the first overall pick in the Minnesota Cities draft. No pressure. You want to trade back?
No. In fact, I'm doing a list here quick, and more so deciding how I want to execute these picks. What position?
Yeah, because you're not going to get
the
another
value
pick. You get the first pick, and then you get the 6th pick.
All right.
You might be relegated to,
I'm turning in the card. I'm turning
Maple
in the
Lake
card.
or something.
I'm turning in the card, and no, it's not. Yeah. I'm taking Edina.
Love Maple Lake. The Maple
Just
Lake
kidding.
Lakers,
Just joking.
great town ball team.
Yeah, and I'm not going to take Buffalo. Sorry, Phil.
Bentfield Mills, it's all mine.
Okay, so people love to go up north, and there are some gorgeous places. But with the first pick, I'm going up north to a place that actually is a relatively, it can take some time if you go on Friday, okay? But it's a relatively easy drive. We've been there. I think we all love it. Brainerd.
Oh,
whoa! Number 1 pick.
Number
one pick.
I love Brainerd.
Oh man,
Brainerd it's great. It's got great places to stay. Gull Lake. I love Gull Lake. You got some great little bars. I'm going Brainerd.
I mean, I'm a fan, and we've had some back in the old radio days. We used to do. Craigan's is up, right? It was Craigan's.
Madden's is up there. It's a great little. It's a great place to go, but you're not going like beyond Duluth, for instance, which can be a really long drive.
Okay.
A long but great drive, not to give away my big board here.
It's on my list, but I knew that Dex won't touch it.
It's
so
not spoiler alert, it's not on my list.
Actually, we should do a snake draft of places that you wouldn't go in this state. So Declan can
what's funny is this is where so I'm on the clock here. This is where Minneapolis is very polarizing, obviously. There's a lot of people that think Minneapolis is some kind of war zone. It is not. I have lived there for a long time.
Not if a country music artist comes to town. Then it's absolutely fine. Then there's no danger.
I will say Morgan Wallen traffic. So I was at the Westin getting coffee yesterday, just off 6th, like 4 blocks before the freeway entrance.
Yep.
Trying to get to CHS Field to hang out with you guys for the Score North night.
Yep.
Took me 45 minutes to go through Morgan Wallen traffic to get to CHS Field.
So clearly, safe last night.
Also, with my Morgan Wallen prediction, he did do his first walkout last night.
Who was part of it?
No one. Just the crew. Just the pit crew.
Oh.
Just the pit crew. But tonight's Friday. So it's the Friday night show. So I think he might be saving his fastballs and his guests for tonight. And coincidentally, the Thielen family was at the show yesterday, but not part of the walkout, and he is included. I write that down for that.
So you had Thielen.
I'm guessing he won't go again though. Now
he might.
He probably will. I think each concert stands on its own.
And especially if Morgan wants him to be in the walkout, then you don't pass up that opportunity.
He should come out in a Carolina Panthers jersey and helmet. Thielen should double down.
He should.
His loyalty. All right.
Flipping off those Minnesota sports fans. Okay, so listen, I love there are certain parts of Minneapolis, especially St. Anthony, Maine. I love the stadium areas, and so I'm going Minneapolis. There's parts of Northeast Minneapolis too. Okay. So give me and it just any lakes area around Minneapolis, I'm all in. Love the restaurants. So I have to take Minneapolis. Minneapolis falling to number 2. It would be foolish for me to not take Minneapolis. So Minneapolis. And that puts Declan on the clock with the 3rd overall pick.
Yeah,
and then back on the clock with the 4th.
Yeah, I feel like this board has just fallen perfectly for me. So I will take St. Paul with my 3rd overall pick. I am obligated to pick St. Paul, but I also love St. Paul. I grew up on the east side. I went to high school at Central in the Midway. Some of my best friends still live in St. Paul. I love St. Paul, so not only am I obligated to, but it's a great city. Love me some St. Paul. You date Minneapolis and you marry St. Paul. That is the saying about the two cities for those who are unaware.
If you can find your way, through St. Paul without getting lost, which is where I'm at 4 decades into my life in Minnesota.
It's nicer when you live in the randomness of all those streets and then you go to the real ones with, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th Ave. Because then it's an easier transition than it is going what you're saying of learning how normal streets work and then having to work your way into St. Paul. Yeah. So
the good thing about St. Paul is you just get in your car and drive and eventually you hit 94.
It's true. Yeah.
You'll just find it. There'll be a 94 West sign. You'll find one. You'll get out.
No, you're 100% right. Okay. Right. And then, CHS Field, by the way, beautiful great setting.
Area. Lower Town's awesome. Yep. Love downtown St. Paul. Mm-hmm. And with my 2nd pick, I'm going to stay kind of in the metro. It's maybe a little east of it. Give me Stillwater, dude. I can't believe this fell to me. Give me Stillwater, man. I love Stillwater.
Sniped.
I was curious on the board because I know Phil is a big Stillwater guy.
I am, dude. I almost took him number 2, but if Judd went Minneapolis 1, I was strongly considering Stillwater number 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm building my team very differently than both of you are.
But I love downtown Stillwater. I'm not too far from it now that I'm here in Woodbury. But love me some Stillwater. Great area in the summertime.
Antique
big
shops.
Big fan of Stillwater.
Dude,
so
okay.
St. Paul Stillwater.
Shops.
I love antiquing. I'm not gonna lie. There's always like old sports memorabilia you can find.
No question.
Bobbleheads, yeah, it's a good time. Okay, wow, business is picking up here. Okay, so with
this is good. I like this draft.
5th overall pick, I'm on the clock in the favorite Minnesota cities draft. I will select Duluth, much to Declan's chagrin.
I was gonna take that.
Let's go up the North Shore. Give me some Duluth. In fact, I feel like this is a great value pick. I had Stillwater and Duluth very close on my big board.
Yeah, I was hoping to get Duluth next.
Love the waterfront. Love me even like when you go sort of into town too, going up the hills and finding little restaurants. The Glen Sheen Mansion, where you can go on a tour. It's funny. The first time I ever went on the Glen Sheen Mansion tour, and we got done. And I remember the tour guide saying something along the lines of, the city inherited this mansion back in 1970 something. And then they kind of usher you out. And I was like, I asked my wife, I was like, okay, this is a beautiful mansion, super valuable property on the waterfront. Why would the city own this now? Why wouldn't like the family own this? Seems like we're missing part of the story. And then I went online.
Oh, the famous
realized
story?
That the whole family was, the murder.
That's a hell of a story.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's all part of the character of Duluth, Minnesota.
That's the first night. That's my first night right there, Duluth.
Okay. Well, you're back on the clock for 2 consecutive picks. Your last 2 picks. The last pick of the second round, the first pick of the third round. Here we go.
Okay.
Judd's shook right now.
No, I'm not shook. I got a couple choices, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to orchestrate this. All right.
Roseville?
No. I am going to stay closer to home with this pick. So I grew up in Tonka, and Minnetonka's great. It's nice. Okay, it's fine.
Do it.
I don't feel. No. Here's the problem. I feel, I could say like Edina or Minnetonka. No. I'm not going to do that. You know where I'm going with my next pick? I'm taking Excelsior.
Okay, I was wondering if one of those areas,
right by the water. Okay. Yeah. You got little Maynards. You got. It's a great area, and it's a quaint downtown.
It is quaint.
So it's got that quaint old school, and Excelsior to me is
Edina would have been the ultimate. I mean, the debates that would have raged, and there's still a full round left.
Here comes Mankato is too evil to hope. Said, "Here comes Mankato." You know what? Back in the day, Mankato, I would have.
Oh man, with Vikings training camp still there.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Judd and I spent a lot of time in Mankato back in the day. R.I.P. to our time in Mankato.
Yep, exactly right.
So you're back on the clock here for your final pick.
My final pick. Okay. It will not be Mankato. I'm sorry. Perhaps one of you two want to take Mankato. I'm going to go with again, a smaller town outside the metro, but I'm going south this time. I know it's not Rochester. I am going south past Rochester. My in-laws had a cabin in a city called Wallen, but the biggest city by there, which is a great place to hang, is Lanesboro. I'm taking Lanesboro.
Wow, Judd.
Lanesboro is it's south, so the traffic does not flow up there.
Yep.
It's got some great bars. Again, I'm looking for like quaint downtowns where you can bar hop, have fun, possibly get a dollop of ice cream once in a while. Lanesboro is my last pick.
Okay, I was wondering if anyone would go sort of southern region here as you get closer to Iowa.
Very attractive.
Rochester's tough for me. I've had like family members of passed away at Mayo, and I just think hospital. There's some beautiful parts of Rochester, but I don't know, connotations for me.
Sure, makes sense. Okay.
So wow, what a draft here. Okay, I'm back on the clock with my final pick, and I'm torn between 2 right now.
Take Fulda.
Patrick Royce's hometown.
Fulda.
I love the North Shore, and I'm gonna keep climbing up the North Shore. I'm gonna keep going further and further up the North Shore.
I hear you.
A couple hours further up, and with my final pick in the Minnesota Cities draft, I will select Grand Marais.
Okay.
Grand Marais.
I love that.
Beautiful, breezy.
I will say this, because it's gorgeous and it's a great place to go. Anything north of Duluth gets to be a really long drive.
Yep, I got a wedding in.
But that's a great area.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
why
Grand Marais.
You go to Duluth, you post up in Duluth, and then you make day trips up to Two Harbors or Grand Marais, or if you want to go up to the Canadian border and do that whole thing, you can do that too.
Great point. Not liking Duluth is cutting off a great experience. That's
there's better northern cities. In fact, I have one to pick, but it doesn't do anything for me. I think it's very overrated.
I know you do. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
We fought about this before.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me.
Love to.
Because I've taken 2 metro cities, and I think it's a good idea to pick something out of the metro after I just took St. Paul and Stillwater with my first 2 picks. Phil took Grand Marais. I can't take, and I'm glad no one made this problem. So Judd said Brainerd. The city of Nisswa is technically like just 20 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, they're separate.
They're separate, but I don't think you can take both because they're really
Brainerd
basically on the
Lakes
same lake.
area
Yeah.
is kind of
Yeah. So I
I've
had
got Gull Lake, so back off.
Yep, I had Nisswa on my big board, but with Judd taking Brainerd, I think that'd be too much of a cop out. Okay. So instead, I will take Lutsen instead. I like to snowboard. So what the best place easily to snowboard in Minnesota is probably Lutsen. There's some other ones too in the northern Minnesota part, but I will take Lutsen. So that'll round out my
there
3
it
cities.
is. So okay, here's the order of picks. Here's Judd's team. We'll go with the teams. Judd, in the favorite Minnesota cities draft, has landed Brainerd, Excelsior, and Lanesboro. I have landed Minneapolis, Duluth, and Grand Marais. And Declan goes with St. Paul, Stillwater, and Lutsen. We'll put the poll up on the Score
All
North
solid in my
Twitter
opinion.
account.
I don't think there's a wrong team here.
What are the biggest? I would say Red Wing was
Red
another
Wing's
one
up
on
there.
my do a little Barn Bluff hike and go down by the river.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's a good one.
War Road is hockey town. I get that, but
It's way too far
that's
for me.
also what it is. It's just there's hockey.
It's too far.
I don't know what else to do when I'm up there.
No love for St. Cloud, Dex?
No love for St. Cloud. I love St. Cloud State. Very proud St. Cloud State alum. I have
Enjoy it
zero
while it
desire
lasts.
to go there.
White Bear
Zero.
Lake?
St.
White
Cloud.
Bear Lake?
That was so if you took Stillwater, White Bear Lake would have been my second. I had White Bear Lake on my big board.
Judd is not.
Would have taken
I'm
White Bear
ambivalent
Lake.
about
My
White Bear
fiance
Lake.
would have killed me as a Matamidi gal. She would have been furious at me for taking White Bear Lake. But White Bear Lake was on my board if you had taken Stillwater.
Bemidji's another snub, too. There's some people
Bemidji,
throwing.
yep.
I thought about if this was a longer draft, I think Red Wing and Bemidji would have been for sure.
Red Wing would have been a great one. Again,
Grand
great
Rapids.
bars. The St. James, the old St.
Oh,
James.
dude,
Great
haunted.
hotel.
That little speakeasy
It's
kind of thing.
Yeah, I love it though. It's a great place.
It's too bad La
That's
Crosse
a good
is
one.
just technically over the border because La Crosse would have been. I love La Crosse, but that's technically
Do you?
Wisconsin.
I've been to La Crosse since I was a teenager.
I'm a lacrosse guy as well.
Yeah.
A lot of family in that area. Fargo, technically not though.
Technically,
Can't go
exactly.
Fargo.
Yeah.
So, all right, let us know the other snubs in the YouTube comment section here, and then we'll put the official poll up on the Score North Twitter or X page where you can
Richfield.
vote.
Richfield. John just said Richfield.
I saw Brooklyn Center in there.
Yeah, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn
These
Center.
random. It's random. Amazing. All right, that's your Feedback Friday here on Purple Daily Vikings entertainment and weekly snake drafts now too. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. See ya.